Okay, my dudes, we should be live, and we have not done this in a long time, but we have a real money Dynasty startup draft, of course, hosted through Patreon, but I mean, we have so much to talk about here. Let me just pull this up real quick so I can watch the chat. I know that there's a game kicking off in about 2 minutes, so we're going to have to miss the Chicago Bears game, which of course everybody wants to watch Justin Fields, but we're going to have to miss that so we can come out here, get this live stream going. Honestly, I'm kind of fine. I wonder if there's going to be anything that happens in the game that maybe shakes up the draft board just a little bit. But yeah, we are going to get this going in just about 2 minutes. Let me send out a notification on Discord real quick to let everybody know that we are live. And yeah, we should be good to go. I can start answering some questions. And if you have not subscribed to the channel for whatever reason, I understand, guys, we make regular fantasy football videos every day on our main fantasy football channel. So for the Dynasty channel, while y'all know we're going to continue to make those every day during the off season, I think here we probably changed the frequency up a little bit, where I promise you, you're never going to hear any non-Dynasty fantasy football talk on this channel. So if you don't play Dynasty, you're wasting your time. Don't subscribe. You're honestly probably in the wrong spot. But if you are interested in Dynasty fantasy football, you are in the right spot. So let's go. Let's get the Flock 20 Patreon League going up. And okay, so the team at the 101, if y'all see this real quick, let me actually send this out. Okay, we just sent that out. Or did we? Okay, we did. Okay, so now let me pull up the screen. So now this team's on auto, which is of course concerning. Now this is a real money fantasy football draft, so it's not necessarily like we need to be too worried about someone that's going to be on auto draft and ruining the entire draft. If they want to punt away their money, that's on them. It says that they're online, so maybe they queued up like a Patrick Mahomes or something, and then they're just going to go with Mahomes, not really thinking about it, because this is going to be a super flex tight end premium Dynasty startup. So we can naturally assume that Mahomes is going to go 101. And yep, that's exactly what happens. So Mahomes goes at the 101. Let's get this going. Allen at the 110. Now we are drafting from the 110 here, but you do see that there's a third round reversal. So I think that the 110 isn't the worst spot to be. Now it's also going to be a 6-point passing touchdown format, which is maybe why you see a Kyler Murray, a Josh Allen here going over Christian McCaffrey. Now, of course, guys, if you have any opinions on what you think is going on right now, let me hear it. Let me know what y'all are thinking. Okay. So we have a lot of people in the live chat. Let's check it out. Okay. So we have Sir Dilly, Bob, Devontae, the Happy Ginner, Aaron, HK Survivor, John, Alejandro, Piano, John, Jordan, Henry, Jason. Thank you all for coming out, my dudes. This is going to be a fun draft. And I made it a 60-second timer. That way we can get the pace going. Now you have Justin Herbert at the 104. That is crazy. I don't think I would have gone with a Justin Herbert at the 104. I understand the thought process behind it. At the same time, it does seem a little rich for me. Now keep in mind, this is a Dynasty League, so of course the long-term value is going to be there. And now Christian McCaffrey at the 105. Okay, so Taryn Cloud says, Mason, what are your thoughts on Clyde Edwards-Helaire and his injury? Last I saw, please correct me if I am wrong, but it looks like this injury is only going to keep him out a couple weeks at the most. I mean, it sounds like it's not going to be a high ankle sprain, which of course is fantastic. Let me know if there's anything that's developed over the past few hours. I was actually in some underdog drafts this morning, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire was still going at the beginning of the third round, so I kind of assumed that it wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, Dak Prescott at the 107. Dalvin Cook at the 108. And a big thing is, guys, we are in redraft season right now. You know, a lot of people are focusing in on that 2021 production. So I think we're going to be able to soak up a ton of value. So Adam on the clock. Let's see where he decides to go with this next pick. So Adam traded around a decent amount. He goes Trevor Lawrence. We have the easiest selection of our entire lives. We're going to go Jonathan Taylor here at the 110, getting that bell cow running back on his rookie contract. We've talked about this time and time and time again, but there's nothing more valuable in Dynasty Fantasy Football than that bell cow running back on their rookie contract. I've been getting a Jonathan Taylor here. Having him as our running back for the next 3-4 years it's absurd. I'm going to be very excited about that. I know it's a super flex league. I know it's also a league where you have a 6-point per passing touchdown, but still I want to go with the Jonathan Taylor there at the 110. Now we have some receivers going in, a Justin Jefferson and a Tyreek Hill. And I'm going to really like how our next pick shakes up, to be honest. I mean, I think we can get really excited about our next pick as well once we see Jefferson and Tyreek Hill go off the board. So if we're going to go and look at the quarterback position, here you have Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow, and for whatever reason, this is, I mean, yes, it's a lot better than how it was earlier this offseason, where y'all know earlier this offseason, like everybody had Justin Fields over Trey Lance, which I thought was the most ridiculous thing ever. You should have Trey Lance in a tier ahead of Justin Fields. Now you see the ADP is like neck and neck with 41, 41.3. Still, I think it's too close. It's ridiculous that Fields is over Lance in ADP. Never make that decision. And the decision that we're going to make here is to go back-to-back running backs. We're bringing in these running backs that are on their rookie contract. We're going to go Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley to start this draft. Barkley drafted in 2018. This is a running back that does have 2 more years left on that deal. Now, yes, you don't necessarily expect him to play for the 5th-year option. He's most likely going to get an extension. But getting those 2 running backs, I really like how we set this team up. And now keep in mind, we're not going to have to wait all the way for this to come back around. We're going to have another pick here at the 303. Okay, so Fallon says, Mason, I just watched the Daily Flock video, and I'm a little upset you disrespected my dog Julio. Are you assuming with the rankings for our wide receivers 12 through 18, where would y'all rank Julio Jones for fantasy football just this year? Just this year alone. Okay, Joe Burrow at the 204. And guys, if you have not gone down there and dropped a like on the live stream yet, what are you doing? Go down there, drop a like on the stream. And also, I have this announcement. I know we've made this announcement a million times on the main fantasy football channel, but just to make sure that everybody on the Dynasty channel knows as well. So we recently had a partnership finalized with Underdog Fantasy, the best thing to ever happen to the Fantasy Flock Network. And here, what they are doing is they are sponsoring our 2021 draft guide, our 2021 rankings, our 2021 tiers, our 2021 Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide, hundreds of pages of information. I mean, the Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide alone is over 100 pages. And when you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, which is where I've been live drafting every single night on the main fantasy football channel. I mean, I go through and I do drafts during the day over there all the time as well. Even when we're not streaming, you'll probably see me in some of those public lobbies. But when you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, they add $25 to your account with a $10 deposit. You get our 2021 draft guide. You get our 2021 Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide, our 2021 tiers and rankings that are going to be updated all the way to the beginning of the season. And no, this deal is not limited to today, tomorrow, this week. No, it's going to be going on forever, at least forever, as in this season. So make sure you take advantage. Make sure you get that deal this year before the season kicks off. So you get those draft guides, you get those rankings, and obviously you help the channel a ton. Okay, so here you have Trey Lance going at the 208. And with Trey Lance, obviously, y'all know how high I am on him. Let's check out Sir Dilly. Okay, so he made a bunch of trades in this draft. So it looks like he trades out of pretty much the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds to get an extra pick in the 2nd to get really, I mean, just an extra pick in the 2nd. And then also picks up a lot of draft picks in the 9th, 11th range. I honestly probably don't like that much. Who else made a lot of trades in this league? Okay, so with a Nick J, here he has 2 seconds, he has 2 fifths, and essentially just paid up an 8th. So it looks like he traded away his 1st to pick up an extra 5th, move up in the 3rd, his 1st and 8th to move for a 3rd and a 5th, or I'm sorry, a 2nd and a 5th, and to move up in the 3rd. Okay, just kind of seeing the accumulation of trades because obviously that's not just one deal. Okay, so Najee Harris goes off at the 207, DeAndre Swift, and here Travis Kelce at the 209. Keep in mind, this is a tight end premium format. So let me know what y'all think of Kelce at the 209. Personally, I can't get behind it. I think that there are some other tight ends that we need to be taking. I prefer a George Kittle. I mean, y'all see that in my Dynasty rankings that are over there on Patreon. But yeah, I prefer George Kittle in Dynasty over a Travis Kelce. And especially when you start with a Justin Herbert, I mean, you already kind of start your team out for the long haul. I wouldn't necessarily say Justin Herbert's some superb win now asset. I would say that you probably would rather have like a Christian McCaffrey on a build where you're going to take Kelce in the 2nd round. So if you think that's the strategy that you're going to be going with, honestly, not a massive fan of the Justin Herbert selection. Okay, so now if we're looking at best players available according to ADP, now Kyle Pitts at the 212 by Sir Dilly. So he has Jefferson, Lance, and Kyle Pitts so far. Very interesting. And we have Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley. And now let's go through. And if we're talking quarterbacks, best available are going to be Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson. Running back, you have Henry, Chubb, Zeke, Dobbins, Gibson, Jones, CEH. Receiver, you have Adams, Hopkins, Ridley, Lamb, Chase, McLaurin, Michael Thomas. And at tight end, you have George Kittle. So George Kittle goes. Now we're going to be put in a pretty difficult spot. So let me pull up the running back position real quick. Y'all know I'm not really going to consider a Derrick Henry, not going to consider a Nick Chubb. Antonio Gibson does go off. So the question here is, do we want to reach on a Travis Etienne? Do we want to reach on a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, getting some more running backs in here that are on those rookie deals? Do we want to potentially pivot over and go with the receiver in this range? Now, Davante Adams obviously has that elite production for this season, but possibly we want to go out there and instead just get someone like a CeeDee Lamb to come in. So CeeDee Lamb would provide us that long-term value. This is a difficult spot. I'm not in love with going in the direction of a Justin Fields here. Honestly, I think we're going to pass on that. When we start Taylor Barkley, I think we can build a win now team. Now, I'm really hoping that this isn't the redraft mindset leaking into our Dynasty game right now. You know what? We're going to let it leak in. We're going to go with the Darren Waller at the 303. I know that is reaching on 2021 production, and I mean, this is something that I need to work on because since we're in redraft mode, I mean, I've been live streaming and I've been drafting every single night. I've done over 100 of those Underdog 2021 fantasy football drafts. So maybe I'm more so having a broken redraft mind right now and not necessarily taking into consideration enough of the long-term value. So let me know what y'all think of that Darren Waller selection. Let me know where you would have gone. So Ian in the chat saying Davante Adams. A big thing is with the difference between Darren Waller and Davante Adams, in a league where we're getting 1.5 points per reception for the tight end position, I do think that Darren Waller is slightly more intriguing and that you should expect him to have a similar points per game output this upcoming season. And the difference is, I mean, Davante Adams in the receiver position is going to be a lot more replaceable than what you have at tight end. So yeah, I think going Darren Waller, 28 years old, it's something I'm not in love with. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think of that. The Happy Ginnerbread says you should have gone with CeeDee Lamb. I think Lamb, honestly, probably could have been the right call there. I think that, yes, if we were going to go for some long-term value, we probably should have gone with the CeeDee Lamb. But at the end of the day, I mean, getting a Darren Waller is going to put us in a position to compete this year, which I think when we start with some running backs, that's probably where we want to be. Okay, so now we have Calvin Ridley at the 307. So it looks like CeeDee Lamb, the other player we were considering, is sliding down the board a little bit. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire does go here at the 306 despite the injury. Now, let's check out some teams. Obviously, it's a little bit harder to see in this style than it would be with an underdog draft because a lot of people did make trades on this board. Okay, so we have Allen, Diggs for this Buffalo stack here. So Adam has the combination of Lawrence, Kyler, Swift. Dylan has Herbert, Kelsey. Gaviato has CMC, CeeDee Lamb. Okay, so he goes with the CeeDee Lamb at the 308. He also takes Justin Fields at the 304 first quarterback. Then here, I mean, we actually have a Jamar Chase avatar. So we're pretty confident that we can probably see Jamar Chase go off in the fourth. So Nick has Russell Wilson, AJ Brown, Antonio Gibson. I actually really do like that start. Senior Skittles says Dalvin, Metcalf, and Davante Adams. Okay, so a very win now build here. I mean, this is definitely for 2021 when you take the combination of Dalvin Cook and Davante Adams. Sir Dilly, I mean, this is going to be his last pick for a while, so it's going to be interesting to see how he decides to kind of go through and round out this team with his fourth player. If he tries to keep it a little more balanced, he goes Deshaun Watson. So he goes all upside in the third round. I was going to say we're probably considering drafting Watson here at the 410. I thought that he was going to be probably a safe option to make it back to us. Clearly, that doesn't happen. Now, Aaron Jones has Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Bossman Farrell has Tyreek Hill, Alvin Kamara, and George Kittle. So let me know if anything stands out to you, like any crazy picks that you have seen. I will say that I do prefer going Dobbins over Nick Chubb here. I mean, with the Nick Chubb, it's a win now asset that I'm not necessarily all in on for 2021. He's already on that second deal. I know he was drafted in 2018 just like Saquon Barkley, but the difference is with a Nick... Oh my God. Okay, our microphone just completely fell out. Hopefully that didn't sound really bad for y'all. Let me put this back in, and hopefully that doesn't happen again. My God, that was scary. That was really scary. Okay, so Tua Tagovailoa goes to the 401. I hate that Tua pick. I know it's super flex. I know it's 6-point passing touchdown. But taking a Tua there, if we pull up the quarterbacks that are still available, got Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, there are so many guys that are still available. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, y'all know that I've been on the train all offseason saying that Jamar Chase was overrated in Dynasty, but we were calling Jamar Chase an overrated asset whenever he was going before CeeDee Lamb. Do y'all remember how much hate I was getting when I was saying that CeeDee Lamb was a clear pick over Jamar Chase in Dynasty Fantasy Football? Do y'all... I mean, it's laughable to see how much hate I was actually getting at that call. And now I think it's kind of consensus to see CeeDee Lamb over Jamar Chase. I think people really have woken up to that. And I will say, once you get Jamar Chase falling in drafts, then we could start to consider him based on the reports that we've had out of Cincinnati. How, I mean, he wasn't exactly what people expected. And now people are trying to make that rash adjustment right away with the Jamar Chase. So I think maybe Jamar Chase goes from someone that we were really fading hard, like I wanted nothing to do with Jamar Chase, to where now probably going to be considering him if in dynasty drafts he falls any further than this, like we can get a Jamar Chase at the end of the 4th. I would have probably taken Jamar Chase here at the 410. Okay, so now let's go Jalen Hurts at the 405. Now with a Jalen Hurts, I'm not going to speak too much on this pick for now because I have like a small strategy thing that I would be implementing in this league. And if I speak on it now, I think maybe it affects where we're going to go with our next few rounds. So yeah, I think we have to be quiet on that. And it looks like running backs are by far and away the best available according to ADP. You have Ezekiel Elliott, Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon. Okay, Derrick Henry goes to the 404. Very intriguing to see Derrick Henry go over Ezekiel Elliott. Given the guaranteed money and the age of Zeke compared to Derrick Henry, I personally prefer having Ezekiel Elliott over Derrick Henry in fantasy. Now, Godwin goes to the 407. We're going to consider Godwin with our next pick. Now, we are 2 picks away. So, right now, yes, we desperately need a quarterback. We also need receiver. I think that, I mean, we can really go anyway with this next turn, though, because, I mean, it is Dynasty. We're looking at a roster where we're only starting 1 QB, 1 running back, 1 receiver, 1 tight end, 6 flex, and a super flex. Now, ETN goes off the board. I hate seeing Travis Etienne go off the board. He was going to be my clear selection here. Now that he is no longer available, if we're going to be looking at running backs, personally not too interested in anybody in this range. And Aaron Jones, yes, is going to give you elite production this season, but the long-term value I don't necessarily think is there. So I think instead we probably pivot over and we probably go with either a receiver or honestly a QB I'm not going to be too interested in. I mean, Rodgers, Stafford, Tannehill, Baker. Instead, we're just going to go with a DJ Moore here. Y'all know how high I am on DJ Moore in Dynasty based on the adjusted age production that we have seen through his NFL career so far. So we're going to go with a DJ Moore as our first receiver here at the 410. And we really need to build up this receiver core, to be honest. I mean, in a format like this, I think going back and looking at it, it was probably a bad call for us to go Darren Waller at the 303. I do like to see the fact that TJ Hawkinson goes at the 312. You're starting to get a few of these other guys off the board. So, yeah, definitely when you take a Waller, you're hoping that these other tight ends get pushed up. But would we prefer the combination? Actually, I'm lying to you. I was going to say, would we prefer the combination of Mark Andrews and CeeDee Lamb versus Darren Waller and DJ Moore? We definitely prefer Darren Waller, DJ Moore. So, actually, I think that the Darren Waller selection was probably better than I'm giving it credit for. Okay, so a bunch of people saying Devin Singletary touchdown. Okay, so let's see if any preseason games have an impact on this Dynasty draft right now. So obviously we are missing that Bears game, and that does suck that we don't get to see Justin Fields play, but of course we can watch that later on. Okay, Isidore says, you trashed my Tua pick, so I had to snipe. I know, I'm pissed that you sniped me with a Travis Etienne. Getting a Travis Etienne at the 410 would have been ridiculous value. Even if we would have started this team off with 3 running backs, a Travis Etienne at the 410 would have been such good value that it would have been laughable, to be honest. I mean, this is getting Travis Etienne at the 409, in my opinion, maybe save that draft. Okay. So now that we're back on the clock, I think that... So Rodgers goes... The thing is, if we're looking QB, by the time we're back up again at the 610, we're going to see a massive tier fall off. So I'm not going to be interested in any of these running backs. There's one guy that I could be interested in, but maybe he falls to us at the 610, so I don't want to say his name. Receiver, these guys have to be behind those quarterbacks, in my opinion. Tight end, Mark Andrews. Yeah, so we're going to go QB between Stafford, Tannehill, Zach Wilson. It's all pretty close. I'm not going to consider Baker Mayfield in this range. This ADP is absolutely horrendous. So between Stafford, Tannehill, Zach Wilson, obviously Wilson, in my opinion, has the higher floor, just given his job security over the next 4 years and what the team investment means for that. Instead, though, we were going to go with the Matthew Stafford because I think we could set up some intriguing stacks with either a Robert Woods or a Cooper Kupp a little later on. So yeah, we're going to go Stafford there at the 503. So this team has a nice balance of production right away as well as youth at the top with running backs. So I like the construction of this team. We go old at tight end, old at QB, but guys that are going to produce. And Stafford, in my opinion, is like the perfect guy to have in a league that's going to be 6 points per passing touchdown. Because in a 6 point per passing touchdown league, the rushing doesn't really matter that much at the quarterback position. That's why I really didn't consider taking Trey Lance at the 203, because in a format like this, I think he's actually a little less valuable than in a 4 point passing touchdown league. So getting Stafford, I think the passing volume is going to be there, can outweigh the lack of rushing based on the format. So Javonte Williams does go at the 504. That would have been the running back that we would have considered. I do have Javonte Williams over Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Miles Sanders, Cam Akers, and Chris Carson in Dynasty. I really do like that Javonte Williams selection. And guys, if you have not gone down there and dropped a like on the live stream yet, make sure you go down there, drop that like. Let's get this live stream over 50 likes, my dudes. This is the first Dynasty video that we have done in a very long time. The first Dynasty stream that we have done. And honestly, I think that we're constructing a nice roster so far, a decent team. Now, Mark Andrews does go at the 508, 2 senior Skittles. So yeah, this team is just all win now right now. They also add in Ezekiel Elliott to a core of Dalvin Cook and Devontae Adams. Looks like they're playing as it's a 2021 redraft league. Okay, Brandon Ayuk at the 506. Okay, so it's hard for me to speak too much on what I want to happen right now just because I really need a few, there's like a grouping of players that I'm kind of hoping make it back to us at the 610. So I don't want to speak openly too much about things, but if we look at the best players available currently, Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Michael Thomas, Miles Sanders, Cam Akers, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Ryan Tannehill, Mike Evans, Chris Carson, Baker Mayfield, Zach Wilson, Devonta Smith, Kareem Hunt, Chase Claypool, Jerry Judy, Noah Fant, Deontay Johnson. Yeah, so there are really, I bet that the next few picks probably are going to be this tier of veteran running backs. Maybe not at Jacobs. I know a lot of people are off Jacobs at the moment, but I think we probably see Aaron Jones and Austin Eckler go sometime soon. Now, Jerry Judy does go at the 507, 1 pick behind Brandon Ayuk. I mean, with Judy, obviously the talent's there, but the problem is the situation. The situation's just horrendous. Okay, so now let's go. So James saying, okay, I guess people are arguing who can be. Guys, it's in the range of outcome for anybody to really go out there and bust. I mean, you could see this year Trevor Lawrence go out there and bust. I know that it's not likely, and really fantasy football is all just trying to figure out the probabilities. But at the end of the day, it is possible if that's what we're basing things on. Okay, I'm just pulling up my phone real quick to make sure I don't have any trades that we need to confirm in this league. That would be really bad if the league was waiting on me to go through and confirm a trade. Okay, no, so we're good on the trade front. Okay, so Tannehill goes to the 509 after Austin Eckler at the 508. So I'll say this is what makes like the Derrick Henry selection so bad. This is what makes in my opinion, a Dalvin Cook selection so bad at the 108. Is if we're going to go with those veteran running backs in Dynasty, sure, I'm fine in doing so. But when you can get an Austin Eckler at the 508, when you can get an Aaron Jones at the 5-6 turn, I think going with those veteran running backs over someone like a Dalvin Cook in the first, that's going to make way more sense. Like if you're going to go with the running back and you're going to pay up at the very top of the draft, I think you definitely need to be going and you need to be just getting guys that are going to project well for the long term, like we did with a Jonathan Taylor at the 110. But when you go, you know what, we're going to take someone who's drafted in 2017. They're on their second deal already. Let's go get a Dalvin Cook at the 108. You're just losing the opportunity to be able to take advantage of the Aaron Jones value here. I mean, I would much prefer having Aaron Jones at like the 5'11", 5'12", 601, 602 compared to Dalvin in the first. Baca says, well, Adams at the 305, but Tyreek Hill at the 112. Yeah, that's good value on Davante Adams. Like I said, my thought process in deciding to go with the Darren Waller over Davante Adams is I think if you look at just the fact that it's going to be a 1.5 points per reception, I mean, Darren Waller should also be a player scoring close to 20 points a game. And we know that's going to be a lot harder to find at the tight end position compared to the receiver position. So that is the thought process in wanting to go with the Darren Waller there. So we have a timeout in a real money Dynasty Fantasy Football Draft. The timeout is going to be Aaron Jones. Hopefully, M. Blazer comes back soon. He has real money on the line here. So let me know, M. Blazer, if you hop back in the draft. If you did not want a Aaron Jones or Josh Jacobs, I'm not going to be able to pause the draft for you. But if there's your players still available, I will go through and I'll make that swap. But you have to do that like ASAP. ASAP. Okay. So honestly, I don't want to say it's nice having a team on auto. Of course, that sucks for M. Blazer, but at the same time, it should push more value down to us. Now, I think Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs would have been fine selections there regardless. So it's not necessarily like it's doing that much as of now. Now, Amari Cooper goes to the 603. Okay, so Dylan, there are a few teams here that did not make any trades. I think M. Blazer didn't make any trades. Dylan did not. Okay, I'm highlighting the teams that have not made any trades. Okay, so the reason we didn't make any trades, y'all know if y'all had participated in a Patreon Flock Dynasty League with me before. I mean, usually I am very, very active in trading. It's just we've been so busy lately live streaming every single night on the main fantasy football channel with real money fantasy drafts that I really haven't had the shot to go through and get that much time allocated to my Dynasty Leagues, which kind of sucks, but it's the complete truth. So yeah, we weren't able to make any trades here, just mainly because we didn't have the time. AJ says, Mason, will there be any more Dynasty startups? Yes, there'll be at the very minimum one more Dynasty Patreon startup, possibly more, but at the very minimum, we're going to do another one this offseason. Okay, so if we get to the 610 and we're looking at quarterback, really, I think once you have a Zach Wilson going off the board, it's drying up to a point where I'm not considering any quarterbacks in the 6th round. Maybe if someone falls back to us in the 7th, we can go with them. But yeah, QB, there are about 4 guys here that look the same to me. And at running back, I mean, maybe we just go get a Miles Sanders. I know that a lot of people are off Miles Sanders based on a few reports that he could be splitting the backfield. Also, not necessarily wanting to invest in the Philadelphia Eagles offense. But at the end of the day, this is someone that was drafted in 2019. He has a 3-down profile. He is going to be attached to that rookie contract for a decent amount of time. So maybe we end up just going with the Miles Sanders here at the 610. So Claypool goes to the 607. At tight end, it is nice to have guys like Noah Fant going off the board. We want more tight ends getting drafted once we take Darren Waller at the 303. And I'm not going to be, I know Sleeper has Michael Thomas as the best player available. And I'll say, guys, never go off of Sleeper ADP. I mean, Sleeper ADP is just horrendous. So Miles Sanders does go at the 608. If you're going to go off any ADP whatsoever, like if you want to get a solid list to look at while you go through and do your drafts, it's not Dynasty, but looking at Underdog's ADP is going to be significantly better because I don't know why, but Sleeper just has some of the worst ADP there is. Okay. So here, Isidore is going to be back on the clock after going Mahomes, Tua at quarterback. At running back, they have Montgomery, Travis Etienne. At tight end, they have TJ Hawkinson and Devontae Smith at wide receiver. So possibly they go with another receiver here. Also, I don't think we can take a Cam Akers in this round. I mean, Cam Akers was someone that I literally had on 40% of my Dynasty teams. Almost 50%. I had like somewhere between 40 and 50% Cam Akers before he tore his Achilles. So obviously, Cam Akers has just crushed me this year already without even getting on the field. But now if we're going through, if we're looking at running backs, I'm not so sure exactly who we would be intrigued with. So Waddle goes to the 609. So there are 2 running backs that I'm looking at in mind, but to be honest, I think we probably can wait until we get back to the 7th if we want to go running back. Instead, I think we need to pivot over. We need to go with the receiver. So if we're going to be looking at the receivers here, we have a couple different options. So obviously we would have a Cooper Kupp, 28 years old. We have a Mike Evans at that same age. I know it may seem like a reach to a lot of people, but when we go through it and when we take a Matthew Stafford, do we just want to be taking Cooper Kupp here? I mean, there are a lot of intriguing rookies. We could be making a massive mistake. But I think also when we build around Darren Waller, Matthew Stafford, we're probably building a team to be productive right away. I hate that we're just going to take Cooper Kupp. I don't necessarily like the pick. I think there are a couple different ways that we could have gone about it. But given the construction of our team, I think Kupp's probably going to make the most sense as wide receiver 2. Let's see what these other teams do. Okay, so Aaron Jones is on the clock with 4 picks in a row. And he had gone Dak, Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And then now I'm assuming maybe just hammers in these receivers. So he's going to have 4 picks within a span of 6 here. So he goes with his first one, Mike Evans. Yeah, that was a tough decision for me to go with the Cooper Kupp there. I think there were a couple different ways we could have gone. Okay, so DJ Chark at the 612. You know, I would have liked getting DJ Chark on the way back around. I mean, DJ Chark is one of my guys. I'll say there's a receiver that we prefer over Chark, but he would have at least been in consideration. We have to move Chark down with his finger injury because obviously he's not going to get the same reps in there with Trevor Lawrence, with the new coaching staff as well. So we are going to have to move him down. Now Dallas Goedert goes. That's nice for us because when we take Darren Waller in the 3rd, not necessarily thinking that we're considering too much a Dallas Goedert with this selection. And if we go over to tight end, so Laviska Shenault goes. So Shenault probably would have been the other guy that we were going to go with. But now that we're back on the clock, it's really going to be down between do we want long-term value here in a Juju Smith-Schuster or do we want to just take Robert Woods and get the double stack? So the problem is Juju is just so young, literally 24 years old. I know a lot of people would be screaming, Mason, go Rashad Bateman, go Elijah Moore. I really like Juju, guys. I know that I'm getting suckered into it every single season, but at the same time, I mean, it's hard for me. It's hard for me not to. So between a Woods and a Juju, I think in a vacuum, possibly we go with Juju Smith-Schuster, but I love Robert Woods to begin with. Also, we do have Matthew Stafford here, so we are bringing in that double stack. So yeah, we're going to go with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, the 6th, 7th turn. Big reason why we drafted Stafford in the 5th is kind of setting us up for us to be able to get the stack. And I think we do want a decent core of receivers in a format like this. Now, Trey Sermon goes to the 704. Possibly we should have considered Trey Sermon, to be honest. I mean, that is a very nice pick. I think we're kind of playing catch up here at receiver, though, given the league format. Let me know what you are thinking about that. Chris says, is this one best ball? No, this is not a best ball dynasty startup. This is not best ball. Aaron says, Juju really wasn't that horrible last year. I know he wasn't horrible. That's why I'm higher than consensus on Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, I think a lot of people hate Juju for the wrong reasons. They hate him because he didn't live up to being a first-round draft pick 3 years ago. And to go along with this, I mean, yes, he has off-the-field antics, which are incredibly annoying. But at the end of the day, I mean, he is someone that has a historic age-adjusted production resume. And to go along with this, he's 24 years old. I mean, he's literally younger than Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel. I know it's crazy to say, but still, I think Juju is intriguing there. Now, Kareem Hunt goes to the 706. Those were both running backs that if we would have considered going RB at the 703 or the 610, these would have been the guys I'd be looking at. Okay, so now let's scroll back up. And how is the game going? Let me look up what is happening. Of course, it's so hard to just look at stats and understand what happened in a preseason game. But let me look it up. Let me know how Justin Fields looks, guys. Okay, so Justin Fields has yet to get on the field. We actually have Andy Dalton currently on the field. And then we go down. It looks like David Montgomery's not playing. And for the Bills, I mean, Josh Allen isn't playing. Singletary does come away with 2 carries and a touchdown. Intriguing. Dawson Knox getting a target as well. Gabriel Davis out there. I don't know if it's a good sign that Gabriel Davis is playing and the other starters are not. That's probably not a good sign for Gabriel Davis. Michael Thomas at the 707. Interesting. How old is Michael Thomas? I'm going to assume Michael Thomas is 28. Yeah, 28 years old. Obviously, we have to be concerned at the beginning of the year, but when he comes back, he should be someone with elite level production. So let's check out this team going Lamar, Najee Harris. I'll say in a 6-point passing touchdown format, I'm a little less interested in a Lamar Jackson given the fact that his rushing isn't at the same premium that it is in a 4-point passing touchdown league. But still going Harrison the second. Love that pick. And then I love slamming receivers here. Really do. Okay, so Juju. Cam Akers ends up going at the 709. Now with Cam Akers, I honestly wasn't going to consider taking him at all in this draft. And I know it sounds stupid, but I have a real problem with Cam Akers in that we were so invested into him before the injury that I think at this point, I really can't be taking him. I think that we kind of have to wash our hands. We go, I can't draft Cam Akers, as sad as it sounds. He was my dynasty running back 4 before the injury. And of course, if it's just a torn ACL, if it's just something that keeps him out this year, but we know he can come back from it, then Cam Akers for me, probably going in the 4th round, 3rd round. But a torn Achilles, he has to dramatically drop. So we have M Blazer still on auto here. I've yet to hear from him. Guys, in the chat, if y'all have heard from M Blazer, let me know. Pulling up my phone real quick, that way we can check the chat. This is a real money fantasy football dynasty draft. So yeah, I have not heard anything. So I guess he's just on auto. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, we knew that this was going to be a live draft. It was going to last an hour. He made the first couple picks. Then he autos on Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, James Robinson, Carson Wentz. I'd imagine that he possibly looks to go Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs here regardless. But I doubt he would go with a James Robinson and a Carson Wentz. So that is intriguing. That is intriguing. Okay, so it looks like people are arguing. Who are y'all arguing? Okay, Kiki says Kiki's arguing against Antonio Gibson, and one of the arguments looks like he got minimal carries in college. He was a receiver in college. Unsure if you've known this about Antonio Gibson. He was a receiver in college, so of course he's going to have minimal carries. Of course. Noah comes out, says, I thought Gibson would be higher in value than he went here. He is almost, it goes above Najee in redraft and is younger or the same age. I'll say that Antonio Gibson, where did he go at the 302? I think this is perfectly fine value for Antonio Gibson. The running backs that went, honestly, in Gibson, ETN, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, J.K. Dobbins, I think that's great value for all of those guys. Just getting running backs that you know are going to have that role, that are that young to go along with it. Yeah, I think that's good value on Antonio Gibson. I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. Okay, so there's some other veteran running backs falling, and this is going back to what I was saying and why I don't like taking a Dalvin, taking those veteran running backs that are only for 2021 at the top of the draft. Because you have guys like a Chris Carson falling to the 8th, and I'm not even saying Chris Carson's some massive value. But what I am saying is I'm saying, hell, that's a pick that you know you can make it and get a guaranteed role at the running back position, kind of what you're looking for. So I just think looking at those veteran running backs like a Dalvin or even going to Alvin Kamara at the 201, I know they're significantly better for Carson this season, but the long-term value, in my opinion, it's not too different. And I think just passing up on one of those younger players or one of those elite quarterbacks is just such a high opportunity cost. Daryl Henderson, we get sniped on Henderson. I really thought we were going to get him here at the 810. If we're looking at running back, there's one guy that comes across my mind. We should probably be starting to look at this a little earlier. I'm just kind of feeling comfortable with what we can do in terms of these dynasty drafts, and that we're used to drafting on Underdog where you have a 30-second clock. Okay, so there's one receiver that really sticks out to me. At tight end, we got a Mike Gesicki. Really nobody at tight end I'm too interested in. Kind of happy that we took a Darren Waller. So if we're going to go back to receiver versus running back, I guess we could go QB here as well. So would a Matt Ryan be intriguing in a 6-point passing touchdown league? We'll just take a Kenny Golladay. We'll just take Golladay at the 810. Now, Golladay, I don't necessarily like his dynasty value, and I have been saying to sell him, but we were saying that whenever he was going significantly higher than where he's going now. So then getting him here at the 810 is going to be fine. Now, big thing is looking at the teams after us. I think there is a chance that one of those quarterbacks in the same tier kind of makes it back. So I'm not too hesitant to pass on the quarterback position. We already have the locked and loaded stud running backs with Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley, so I don't feel the need to go out there and reach on a running back. So yeah, we're going to take Golladay at the 810. Not in love with it, but I think it's fine value. Okay, so Odell Beckham Jr. here at the 812. Curtis Samuel. So yeah, I'm kind of glad we went with the Kenny Golladay, bringing in some receiver help here because it looks like we're in a little of a receiver run. Okay, so now Carson goes off. So QB, we have Brady, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold. So I think we do need to go with the quarterback here. And I know a lot of people are not going to like this pick. Actually, I don't know if I can go with the Tom Brady. I think that's probably our redraft mindset sneaking in. I know everybody else would go with the Tom Brady. Personally, I think I probably have to go with the quarterback a little. Actually, you know what? We're going to pass on QB again. We're going to go really risky here. I'm going to get another receiver. Yeah, I'm going to get another receiver. There are two guys that I have my eyes on, but we're going to take the guy that we know is not going to make it back to us. So we're constructing a very risky team here, okay? We got a very risky team going. Let me slide this over so we can scroll up a little bit for everybody. Yeah, so far we have Taylor Barkley at running back. At tight end, we have Darren Waller. Keep in mind, this is tight end premium format. At quarterback, we have Matthew Stafford. This is a super flex 6-point passing touchdown format. And then the problem is, in a league like this where we have 6 flex spots, we're really going to be predicting that a lot of teams are going to have to go load up on receivers to play in those flexes. So I think just we're kind of having to go receiver here with a Kenny Golladay and a Tyler Lockett. Also, it fits the construction for us to build a competitive team right away. And I have a few names that I think we can look at later on for the quarterback position. So yeah, I think that it's not ideal for us here to construct a team this way. But given the run I would expect on receivers sometime soon, we're going to go with the receiver. Okay, so now let's switch this over. And Kiki will not stop talking about an 8-game stretch in the NFL. I will say that I loved Antonio Gibson before we even saw that 8-game stretch. You don't need an extremely large sample when you are paying attention to what matters at the running back position. So Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, I will say both of those quarterbacks are more intriguing in a 6-point passing touchdown format. Possibly we're going to be looking back at that and kind of wishing we went with a quarterback. And Mac Jones goes to the 908. So Mac Jones, that's someone that we were keeping in the back of our minds for a potential player to take at the 10-10. I thought that really there was a good chance that Mac Jones fell back to us based on a lot of the Dynasty startups that I have seen. Clearly that doesn't happen, so that kind of sucks at this point. But yeah, Mac Jones going at the 908 is very intriguing. Okay, so Myles Gaskin at the 911. This team, okay, in Blazers back, that was not an auto selection. That was a real selection. Let me go up, show the top of the draft board for anybody who's just now coming in. So he goes out and he takes Myles Gaskin over these receivers. And if you look at his team so far, he has Dobbins, Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, James Robinson, and Myles Gaskin. Very, very interesting to build around that many running backs in a format like this. I'll say we kind of had to build around running back in the last draft. We did more so. It was just due to everybody soaking up receivers, knowing how the format was going to play into the wide receiver value. So I kind of got my hand pushed into having to do that. I don't necessarily know if a Myles Gaskin pick makes a lot of sense there for the team that you have. Let me pull this up real quick. So Gesicki goes to the 10-02. For looking at receiver, I think that over Myles Gaskin in a league like this, there are some names that I honestly probably would prefer to have. Okay, so now back Adam on the clock. Best available are going to be Tom Brady, Chase Edmonds, Ronald Jones, Mike Davis, Sam Darnold, Tyler Boyd, Melvin Gordon, Derek Carr, Damian Harris. So if you like Damian Harris, I mean, this is a great price point to take Damian Harris because he is going near all of these. I mean, he's going in redraft leagues 1 round behind Chase Edmonds. He is going ahead of Ronald Jones. He's going 2 rounds behind Mike Davis. Actually, now that Mike Davis has fallen a good bit, he's only going 1 round behind Mike Davis. He's going ahead of Melvin Gordon, and obviously is significantly younger than a lot of those players. Yeah, this sleeper ADP is just atrocious. Okay. So now we have Adam on the clock. Let's look at where Adam's gone so far in this draft. He takes Henry Ruggs. So another receiver goes off the board. This is kind of what I was saying, and expecting that these receivers are going to go early and often because you have 6 flex spots and it's a PPR format. So we're going to assume that the majority of the time you're going to be wanting to play those receivers in the flex. Now, this is a big reason why I decided to go with a DJ Moore and a Matthew Stafford here over Javonte Williams, just because I do think that, in my opinion, my favorite strategy to implement in a league like this is going to be to just go through and lock up a couple stud running backs at the top and then go through and hammer in receivers after, which is what we try to do now. Obviously got thrown off a little bit with the Darren Waller here, but with the Darren Waller, I think that we're honestly kind of fine with it. Okay. So now let's scroll this back down. And guys, I know that you've probably heard this a million times before, but just in case you have not, we have partnered with Underdog Fantasy for this upcoming season. My favorite place to do real money fantasy football drafts. And now what's great about this is because of this partnership, one of the big reasons I did it is Underdog Fantasy agreed to sponsor our 2021 draft guide, our 2021 rankings and tiers, or if you make a $10 deposit, so you're just going, I'll play in $10 worth of fantasy football leagues on Underdog Fantasy, they're going to add $25 to your account. You're going to get my 2021 draft guide. You're going to get me my 2021 Dynasty rookie draft guide, and you're going to be getting my rankings and tiers updated all the way to the beginning of the season. So make sure y'all take advantage of that. Make sure you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. And obviously it helps out the channel a ton. If we get 10,000 signups with promo code FLOCK, we're going to be able to fly people down to Tampa, Florida to be able to go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with me. And at the same time, we'll have a Florida Flock meetup after. So it'll be a ton of fun. We'll vlog the entire thing. Make sure you take advantage. Okay, so now let's look at what we are going to be doing at the 10-10. Adam is back on the clock. See where Adam has gone so far. So at quarterback, he has Kyler Lawrence. He has Swift at running back. And then he's gone with 6 receivers straight since then. So yeah, now back up on the clock. I think he can go in a couple different routes. Okay, so let's look at the teams after us. So Aaron Jones here has Dak, Burrow, CEH, Sermon, and then a bunch of receivers and a tight end. Then Bossman Farrell has... Okay, so just making sure. Now, Michael Gallup goes. Gallup was actually a receiver that I was going to consider taking at this 10-11 turn. And this is a big reason why I decided to go with the Tyler Lockett at the 903, is if you look at the drop-off that we just had at receiver from a Tyler Lockett to the guys going down here, it's not nearly as large as the drop-off. I'm sorry, it's a lot larger than the drop-off that we had going from the Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Mac Jones tier to someone like a Tom Brady. So we are going to get Tom Brady coming in here at the 10-10. This is a win-now team. So yeah, we're going to like that. Okay, so the 10-11. I really like that. Let me know what y'all think of that Tom Brady pick. I think so far this team is fantastic. Let me scroll up. Let me hide this so everybody can see what we have done so far. So here at QB, we have the combination of Stafford and Tom Brady. Yes, neither one of these guys has rushing upside, but in a 6-point passing touchdown league, rushing upside at the quarterback position is going to matter a little less. So obviously that's going to be ideal. And to go along with this, we are getting guys that in a 6-point passing touchdown format, they're going to have the passing volume, and we're taking them at a discount. And then at tight end, obviously, we have an elite producer in Darren Waller and someone that should, in theory, be just like an elite wide receiver in terms of his points per game, given the fact that this is a tight end premium format. We have Taylor Barkley holding down the running back position, and then we slammed in some receivers. We have the double stack with a Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. So I really do like this draft so far. Okay, so now we're going to be back on the clock. Derek Carr, Robert Tonyan just go off. Okay, so QB, not too interested in reaching on a quarterback here. We could potentially take a running back. Now, it's going to be dependent on, obviously, our clear running back that we like out of this group is going to end up being a Chase Edmonds. Edmonds goes, so honestly, I don't even think we consider running back. I think we go over to the receiver position. And here at receiver, there are a couple different ways that we could go. So, yeah, I'm not going to say too many names out loud because obviously some of these guys can make it back to us maybe at tight end. You know what? We're going to go with another tight end because I think we can actually play this tight end in the flex confidently. We're going to go with between a Logan Thomas and a Tyler Higbee. I think that we actually kind of give the edge here to someone like a Logan Thomas because actually, no, because this is going to sound crazy. We're going to take someone that I just kind of have to sit here and I have to say, maybe we just have to listen to the smart drafters because on Underdog Fantasy, Logan Thomas is going incredibly high. And obviously there are reasons to get excited. We are taking a Tyler Higbee. We're also taking him to stack with Matthew Stafford. So we're pretty much all in on this Los Angeles Rams offense at this point. So yeah, let's get Tyler Higbee in here. This is a 1.5 points per reception for the tight end position league. So maybe you go through and maybe you consider bumping up Tyler Higbee, and that is someone we can play in the flex every week. So yeah, let's go through and let's get Tyler Higbee. Okay, so now Kadarius Toney at the 1105. So Toney is intriguing at the receiver position, just in that this is someone that was literally drafted in the first round this past year. He's drafted in the first. Obviously, I mean, he has a horrendous profile coming out of Florida, but at the same time, I mean, he's not a prototypical wide receiver. You're more so betting on just the versatility that he has. So I'm not a massive fan of Kadarius Toney. I will say I have him over Amari St. Brown in our Dynasty rookie rankings. And if you want that Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide where we dive in depth on every single prospect as well as historical analysis, make sure you're using promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. I will send out the link to join Underdog Fantasy in the live chat right now. It'll also be down there in the description of the video. It'll also be down there in the comment section. Okay, so Antonio Brown goes to the 1107. And my dudes, I hate to do this. I really do. But, I mean, my computer's blowing up right now. I have to go down and I have to I have to go down, let someone into my apartment. So I can't keep this live stream going. We were going to live stream for another 10 minutes. Now, if you're in the draft right now, we're going to continue live drafting, but we're going to have to probably end the live stream here. But thank you all for coming out, hanging out in this Dynasty stream. We're going to get at least one more Dynasty draft going over there on Patreon. Possibly we get two, mainly just dependent on the amount of time that I have. And we are live streaming every single night on the main fantasy football channel. So I'd love for you to come out in a live stream. We're live streaming tonight. So just come out to the stream tonight. And yeah, that's all I got for you, my dudes. Really thank everybody for coming out to the stream. We're going to get this draft going for another 10 minutes, but it'll be off the stream. And yeah, thank you. And oh, what I need to do is I need to send out a link to our free fantasy football group chat. I'll post the end of the draft board in this chat if you were interested in how it's going to go. Now, this is a free fantasy football group chat. You don't need an email. You don't need a credit card. You don't need anything whatsoever. You just need to click the link, choose a nickname and what you want to be called by. And then yeah, let's send this out. And thank you, my dudes. I will see y'all